Weapon perk weighting in Destiny 2. I've never thought ever in Destiny 2 that this would be something of a conversation, but here we are, and it's crazy on the end results of everything that has happened with all this. And I obviously want to talk about it because I know that a lot of people were asking what my thoughts are on this, and here I am. And yeah, for those who don't know, I know that a lot of you do know about this. Basically, people were getting very upset that RNG was not in their favor for a specific role of a heavy grenade launcher, the next meta grenade launcher, number 20, inside of the dungeon. And that led to people starting to do some testing to try and see why this one specific role that they're looking for is just not dropping. It felt like it was impossible to drop. Granted, there were some people that were like, hey, I already have it. I don't know what you're talking about. It just sounds like bad luck. Which, that's kind of how it's always been with Destiny, but this is something where people were like, no, something feels wrong. So they started the test. They started off with like a small test of maybe like 300 rolls or something like that. But it definitely looked like something was a little bit off, where it wasn't supposed to be what random should be. Like, it was like there was some perk combinations that were a little bit weighted versus others. And that started to lead to conversation. And at first, Bungie responded by basically saying that, hey, we didn't do any perk weighting. We don't do that. Yeah, no. But we will definitely look into things if there's like any issues, but no, we're not doing that. So then the Destiny community did what the Destiny community always does. Doubles down. And they made, like, I think it was like a website, and they started to get everybody's loot into this like data, like just suck up the data of all these roles to see which combinations are really high and which combinations are really low. And what was found out is that not necessarily perks are being weighted, but perk combinations were. That's at least what I'm getting out of all this. Like, apologies if I'm not being like 100% on all this, but I just want to talk about this because it's crazy. Like, essentially, like there was just like some combinations of perks that were just higher chance, and then others that weren't. And I know that somebody's going to be like, oh, see, they're making sure that the god rolls are not high chance. No, because there was like god rolls that were like super high chance, and then there was like other rolls, like other weapons that were like the god roll was low chance. Like, it was just random. Not in a random generator, kind of sense where it should be, but like random where it's like, this is a mess and not actually random. I don't know if I'm making sense. But yeah, I was looking at these, and yeah, it's crazy. Like the Destiny community got together to do these tests, and it did find something, because in the end, Bungie responded again and said, yeah, we see this now. Like, we're looking at your data. We're going to start, looking in our own, like, just spaghetti code and trying to see if we can figure out what's going on here. And they did respond with that, and it was confirmed that, yeah, there's something going on. Something is going on in the Destiny code of RNG where this is happening. The big question is, how long has this been happening too? But regardless, it's been happening. And I've always said that I've been really upset that like certain roles just felt like they were non-existent. And when I was looking at a lot of these like weapons and stuff, I was like, oh, that's very convenient. Because like some of these weapons, yeah, I did struggle to try and get, and they were low chance. Obviously, you're not going to have like the god roll instantly. Like you might, and that's where like the RNG's in your favor, but it's going to be random. But when you have things like this, where like the perks are, well, combinations of perks are very weighted, and one of those conveniently is a role that you personally want to get, that's going to suck on your grind. It's not going to be good. Your odds are not with you. It's bad. So yeah, I guess now Bungie's looking into it, and I know that a lot of people were like saying that Bungie was doing this on purpose. I would maybe agree if there wasn't other weapons that like their good rolls were like higher chance and stuff like that. It was just like it's just a mess basically with all these like perk combinations and stuff like that. It's just clearly something is not working the way that it should. And let's be real. Look at all the issues that the Destiny engine has continuously had. And we are introduced with new ones every season or episode now. I mean, now I have when I'm loading into an activity, I get to hear screaming sounds. Like that's a new one. It's a new feature. Like there's a lot of issues with the engine and, you know, the coding and whatever as Destiny 2 continues to grow and whatever. So it's not shocking to me, but it's crazy. That's crazy. And like what the moral of the story out of this, like the main thing out of this story is that the Destiny community is like crazy in the sense of that they will double down if there's something that feels wrong in the game, and like they're like, hey, I'm not getting my god roll. They will prove that it's the game's fault than their bad luck more than anything. And they did. They really did. This is what wasn't like, you know, a skill issue on your luck. This was a genuine issue that has been now found because everyone banded together to figure this out. That's amazing. That is amazing. So, yeah. For any of you out there that were trying to go for certain roles and you just felt like the odds were really, really against you, it seems like it was also the code in the game that was very against you. That's yeah. Obviously, like it looks like that Bungie is going to be looking into, well, fixing this issue, whatever they decide to, like how they're going to fix it. But this keeps going back to like what I've mentioned like many times before, where Destiny just has overall a huge loot problem. And Bungie removing crafting for the seasonal weapons, like it makes sense for like the grind. Like instead of it being like, oh, I got my red borders, I can craft my weapon, I'm done. There's actually like a reason to do the activity through and through. But for casuals, like it's like you basically got rid of something that helped the casuals to just get their role, and there we go. And it wasn't like it took like 2 minutes. Like, I mean, granted though, like if you're like me, playing all the time and holding on to a lot of engrams for like the next act, like you're getting those red borders like instantly. But it takes some time for majority of players, but they just removed it and replacing it with essentially something like that's super duper rare, like past the shinies, which is the double perk version of the weapons, was a bad idea. Really, really bad idea. Like that's not like a, don't worry, we'll at least do this for you. Like what it should have been, and I am gonna do like a video going in more detail about like what they should do, but essentially we need to get to this point where we have more control over our RNG. Not entirely, okay? Don't freak out endgame players, because I also like the grind. But look, a good example is like look at Master Salvation's Edge, where as you get the crafted weapons, now you can get triple perks on your weapons. Like it's like a triumph thing where it's like, oh, you did all these things. So now you're rewarded with more things. That's my big problem with Destiny, is that the rewards that you're getting, especially like triumphs and stuff, are just kind of bragging rights, when I wish that it would change the loot as well. Like give you more better odds, more perks to your weapons, whatever. It's no different than resetting your rank with like Crucible. Like, why is that not a feature with everything where you start to get more perks? Because once you start getting more perks to a thing, the odds of you getting your role is rising. And normally I'm not really big on that. Like back in like Destiny 1, I wasn't, because well, here's the difference. We didn't get drip fed legendary weapons. We would get the weapons for the whole year, and that was it. Like we would just grind the whole year for those weapons. We would get maybe like that in between update, so 6 months later, like how they did with the Challenge of the Elders and stuff. But even then, it's like compared to now, there's like very specific days to go for one weapon. Trials, Grandmasters, and we got events with weapons now. There's so much FOMO. There's so much of that. So like, there's got to be like other ways. So with this like spaghetti code issue with the RNG, that's like one issue that when they solve it will make things a little bit better, hopefully. But at the same time, there also needs to be the answer, the fix to the other issues, which is just the grind, the weapon grinds. Make it more rewarding. Reward the players who are investing into this or that. Like that, Bungie has a huge issue with that. Like they just don't know how to just reward you. Like it's been an ongoing issue. Sometimes they do it really good, and then sometimes they do it really, really, really bad. So I don't know, but I want to make that into like a separate video, a separate conversation. But this one, I want to just focus on this one with the weapon perk weighting, because yeah, that's just really, that's crazy. It is. But it's been found out, so we're gonna hopefully start seeing a fix about this. We won't need to see the Destiny community break out their calculators and start doing numbers again, because they will. Bungie, don't test them. Don't tell them they're wrong. Don't tell them when they know that there's something going on in the game. So, anyways, thank you so much for listening. And I guess the guinea pigs are going nuts in the background. So thank you so much for listening, and I hope you have a chibi-tastic night, day, evening, wherever you are. And I'll see you in the next video. Chibi out.